No, one phrase, uttered and repeated, echoed and amplified by psychoacoustic force. One phrase, made of white light, uttered in unison by 1,000,000 voices. 2,000,000. An entire
Jesus.
species. The Emperor must live. No. That's not. Speak this with me, as it is spoken to me. The Emperor must live. No. Lift up your hands. He must live.
I just get this image of like everyone on the planet like trying to give Goku energy for a spirit bomb. That's where my brain's going like that, you know. I feel like everyone in the Imperium is trying to give the energy to the Emperor so we can get back up, you know. It's the 12th round, Rocky and Apollo. Who's getting up? What's going on, everybody? John Matrix here. Hope you're all having yourselves a wonderful day wherever you're at and whenever you're watching this. We're going to be jumping into Warhammer 40K here today. We're going to be finishing up the End and the Death series here from DQVO. The Death of Horus is the finale title of this episode. Links, as always, will be down below in the description to the original video without my commentary and reaction, and to DQVO's channel. So please do me a favor, if you've been enjoying the series as much as I have, please go over to his channel, like the videos, hit that sub button on his channel, show him some love. Excuse me. Check out his Patreon, check out his YouTube memberships for any kind of ways that you can give him some extra love and support if you would like to do so. You can do the same for my channel if you would like to. There is a join button underneath the video, as well as a link in the description to the YouTube membership benefits and tiers that I have to offer. So you can check those out and see if any of that would have any interest for you. We also have a lot of playlists for other reactions, other universes that I've done reactions to here on the channel. Again, there's Warhammer 40K, there's the Magnus Archives, there's the SCP Foundation, Backrooms, Greylock, etc. So if any of those universes, series, etc. have any interest for you, you can check those out and see if you want to watch that. Regardless, thank you guys very much for coming in and hanging out. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you do, consider leaving a like and a sub, as it helps me and the channel grow. With all that said, all the YouTube plugs done, let's jump into this. This again is the finale of the End and the Death series, the End and the Death 3, the Death of Horus, voiceover part 12 finale by DQVO. I am excited. Let's do it.
Loken tries to stop his father, but nothing can stop his father. Nothing can stop the monstrous, bloodlit personification of chaos, so wretchedly bloated with power, so hideously sure of itself. Horus doesn't even need to touch him. Loken, sword raised, is swept out of his path by the crackling field of immaterial energies that surrounds his father's bloodlit form. The stinging aura brushes Loken aside as a wind might lift and scatter motes of dust, and sends him rolling and clattering across the oil-dark deck. He rises to his knees, numb and concussed, and yells his father's name. But to no avail, for his voice is drowned out by the rushing whispers that fill the air of the court. So he can only watch, his eyes wide with tears, as Horus Lupercal commits his final blasphemy and slays the Emperor. There's no...
Can you imagine that though, right? Could you imagine being anyone of the Imperium and just witnessing that, you know, the God Emperor of mankind, as they say, although I don't think he was really referred to as the God Emperor of mankind during this era, at least by most, but just this person who is, you know, been around forever, has been leading humanity through the stars, you know, led everyone through the Great Crusade, the great victory over the Greenskins and Olinar and everything. And, you know, the myth and legend that has grown around him. And then just to see him crushed and dead, laying on the floor, like, the range of emotions that would be running through you would be crazy.
Joy in it. No, and slays the Emperor. There's no joy in it. No sense of victory. Not even the contentment of closure of a battle squarely won, and a compliance achieved. To kill a helpless man, to crush his head into the deck with your maul, when he can't even stand or open his eyes. What does that say about you?
Mm-hmm.
Some warrior. Some war master.
I forget what the saying is, but there is an old proverb or saying that I heard once, that something along the lines of, you know, it's easy to kill, but the difficult path is, you know, letting your enemy live, kind of a situation. I don't know. The gist of it is essentially anyone can kill somebody, right? But the bigger man lets their enemy live so that they can, you know, have a path to redemption, essentially. You know what I mean?
The infinite legions of the Neverborn are delighted, at least. They're whispering to each other. The rapturous hush and lisp of their voices is building around you, filling the court, beginning to drown out even the dry wood crackle of the burning warp. What is it they are saying?
Stop your whispers.
You tell them. You have no time for that jubilation. You need a moment to contemplate. Can't they see that? You need a moment to reconcile, to center yourself. Look at what you've done. Gods can do anything, and they do not make mistakes. But look at what you've done. You leave a Worldbreaker's spiked head out of the deck. Blood and years drip from it.
I still find it fascinating how when, like, Horus is describing the Emperor bleeding, he's seeing years of his life essentially escape his body. I just find that fascinating.
There isn't even a skull left to place in reverence on your chapel's altar. Your maul crushed his head entirely and gouged a deep crater in the deck beneath. There's nothing but a mess of blood and pulped flesh, fragments of splintered bone, matted hair, a dislodged, staring eye. Steel yourself to be War Master. It's not about glory and prestige. It's about possessing the strength to see things through to the end, even when that end is regrettable and unpalatable. War demands it, and only the strongest have the stomach to finish what they started. You are the strongest. War is ultimately a bloody, tragic business, and only the strongest have the wisdom to understand that once they unleash it, they must be prepared to accept the cost. He was just a man, and now he's dead. Forget that. Forget the mutilated horror at your feet. Remember...
You know, it's interesting, you know, it's like he's trying to convince himself that he was just a man, you know? Again, part of his, like, self-delusion and his daddy issues. It's always been, you know, that he's felt that he was never able to live up to the Emperor's expectations. You know, the whole, there, you know, him never wanting to make a mistake because the Emperor seemingly never made a mistake. When, of course, that isn't true because, again, he is, still a man when it comes down to it. So I don't know. It's just still interesting, even now, how he's trying to delude himself.
For what he was. Remember what you were fighting. The tyrant, the king of ages, the liar, the ruthless master who enslaved a species and used you all. The betrayer, the schemer who wove his damned and secret plans for 30,000 years without a second thought for the lives and blood that would be spent to achieve them. Yes. Think of that. Content yourself with that. Let those thoughts be your consolation. Think of his crimes and his atrocities. Remember that he, and he alone, knew that suffering created lethal and unstable horrors on the other plane of reality, yet saw fit to breed a generation of transhuman warriors like you to subjugate the stars. And when chaos became a focused, existential threat, he seemed dismayed by the blood-lit consequences of his actions. You should have turned against him sooner. You and all your brothers. For all of them had wit and sense. You should have rallied them earlier, long before Ulanor, long before the crusade began to soak the stars in blood. A band of brothers, all of them masters of war, born to understand the properties of conflict. You could have stood together, demanded his capitulation with one voice, removed him from power, and prevented this. All of it before. And if he had refused, then you
done the
could
same
have
thing.
stopped him. Together. Stopped him cleanly. Before the price became 1 trillion lives. A quick end. A clean death. But they were all too much like him. Each one of them a copied part of him. Rogel too stubborn to listen. Sanguinius too forgiving to see the flaws. Russ too inflamed with his own ego. Throne, all of them too much like him. Even the ones that eventually sided with you when the blood began to flow. Fulgrim too in love with his own glory. Angron too agonized to know any different. Magnus too headstrong and sure of himself. All of them, too much.
It's interesting now too how he feels like he's done with the Emperor, and now he's turning his hatred essentially almost towards the other Primarchs. How all of them are flawed, all of them remind him of the Emperor, and he would end up turning on them eventually and trying to deal with them as well, is what it will come down to.
Like him, because that was how he made them. Too much like their father. Your father. But not you. You were the only one who overcame the inheritance of your bloodline. You remained true. You alone stayed strong. You have saved the human race, or what remains of it. Remember that. You had to mash the skull of your helpless father into the floor to do it, but ugly deeds are the price you pay when the cause is just. Your own father. You try not to dwell on that part. You try not to think of him that way. You try to forget the bond you once had. the 30 glorious years, or how proud you felt to be his first found son.
Mm-hmm.
It's finished now. You take the time you need to collect yourself. You'll decide how long that will be. A period of mourning, a time for reflection. You just need some peace now. A long measure of peace. Some silence.
There are the whispers again.
But the whispers... the whispers...
I'm waiting for when they pull the rug out from under him and he doesn't have those powers anymore. And he comes to the realization of his action. That's what I'm waiting for.
A deafening... Stop.
What's up, Couchman?
You murmur. Why won't they leave you alone? They have been whispering incessantly behind your back since Malagurst first woke you from your dream to begin the final illumination. No, not Malagurst. Argonis. That's right. The boy, Kenor Argonis. Oh, it's so hard to think with the whispers gnawing at your brain. You want to settle your mind and get all of this clear and straight, so that when you dictate it to Mercedes Olaton, she records a true account of it. And history will remember how hard you tried, and how deeply you struggled with your conscience, and how...
It's interesting, too, how he talks about Mercedes. Like, would she really actually want to sit down and talk to him and record anything like this, you know? Like, I don't know, man. It's so crazy, like, how deep, like, his delusion and belief has gone. But, I mean, it's also marked by his actions, you know? Like, he's killed the Emperor, seemingly. So, he's gone through with it.
How heavy was the price you paid, but the whispers...
Leave me alone.
You say. The walls breathe. It is very bright in the court, like being outdoors in the searing starlight of Kalistar, or the labyrinth knot of Wigbelak in the blazing warp. Light, almost maddeningly bright, strobes slightly, flickering through leaves swayed by the wind, or something like leaves. You don't care. You don't look. You hear a man weeping nearby, somewhere behind you, that, unlike the whispering, you can forgive. You understand Loken's grief, for it is your own. You don't look around. You can't take your eyes off your father.
Help me.
You say, over your shoulder.
Garviel. Help me with him. Help me bear him up.
You hear him rise to his feet behind you. You kneel and lift your father's body in your arms. What whole part of it is left, at least. He is so light, so fragile. There is nothing of him. Like rags, like a bundle of sticks, dry and paper thin. Please, Lupercal, stop now, Loken says.
It's too late.
You reply. You clear your throat.
I have stopped, Garviel. It's done. It's finished.
It's not too late, he answers. You turn to look at him, your father in your arms. Loken gazes up at you, his eyes dark hollows, his sword forgotten on the deck behind him.
Help me with him,
You say.
help me lay him to rest in honor. He was my father, after all.
It's not too late, Loken insists. Not for you. Not for us. You've done
I wonder if that's the Emperor speaking through Loken now.
what you set out to do. Let go of the power.
Why would I want to do that?
You ask. To prove you are Horus. To prove you are a man and not a puppet.
I told you.
You did. But their claws are deep in you, and their lies delude you. Prove them wrong. You say you took the power into yourself to achieve this end. Well, it is achieved, Father. So if you meant what you said, you don't need the power anymore. Set it aside while you still can. Show the world of men that you are still one of them, and true to your word. Show the foul gods you are not their plaything, or a helpless instrument of their designs.
The power is mine.
You say. The boy has no understanding of anything.
The power is mine to keep and use as I see fit. It's not the power, Loken. It's what you do with it. It is not the evil you think it is.
He just doesn't understand, though. I mean, part of it is that he feels that if he doesn't have that power, he will never be able to live up to the Emperor's example, right? And with the power, he is able to exceed what the Emperor was able to accomplish, essentially. I think is what his thinking is. But the other thing is like if he gets rid of it, he'll know he'll be wrong. He'll be back to his normal self, and he'll realize what the consequences of his actions really are. And he doesn't want to face that either.
You have just slain a golden king in a cathedral of darkness, says Loken. Did those aspects, light and dark, choose themselves?
They are just aspects.
You laugh.
Contrivances of presentation. Darkness to oppose light, you see. I chose my aspect to counter his arrogant show of glory. The darkness isn't evil, Loken. No more than the light is good or true. They're just symbols.
Symbols have power, Father.
Not in the simplistic way you think, my son.
Then cast them off, says Loken. Get rid of them. This darkness, this black heart, this palace of terror. Cast the power away, now you are done with it. Use the one thing you had that your father did not.
Mm-hmm.
And what is that?
You inquire. Loken places his hand on your chest. A feeling heart, he says bitterly. You just killed your father. Be a man and show you are sensible to it. His words cut.
I love Loken so much. He's such
Does
a
he
great
really
character.
think this of you? Can't he see? Perhaps there is some truth in what he says. Perhaps you should shed this black aspect of terror, to show that it is yours to command, and not the other way around. The work is over. It would be a relief. It would take this weight from your limbs, and from your heart, and this deadness from your mind. You could breathe again, and hurt, and grieve for what has been done, and clothe yourself in white and gold for mourning.
It's interesting how he says there that he could grieve for what he's done. Like, you know, he doesn't have the emotional capacity right now in his current state to be able to grieve over this situation. Very interesting.
It would make the pain go away. It would justify your actions. The future can see you. You dare not imagine a future that only knows you as this. You let it go. Just for a moment. You let it go. Just for a second. You let it slip from you like a falling cloak. You let it slide out of you like a withdrawing knife. Its thorns raking your meat and marrow as it drags away. You let it drain from you and pour out of you like blood. There's so much of it, but everything stops bleeding eventually. The whispers rise again in horror. They shriek at you. "Stop it," you say. "I answer to no one." But the whispers won't cease. They swirl around you, saying the thing they have been saying since this all began, again and again, like dead leaves skittering in the breeze or shushing underfoot, like the dry wing cases of beetles, like whirring moths, like the fire spit of the warp, unending. What is it they keep whispering? It's infuriating. You can almost make out the words. The name. One name. No, one phrase. Uttered and repeated, echoed and amplified by psychoacoustic force. One phrase made of white light, uttered in unison by 1,000,000 voices. 2,000,000. An entire species. The Emperor must live. No. That's not speak this with me as it is spoken to me. The Emperor must live. No. Lift up your hands. He must live. A trick.
I just get this image of like everyone on the planet like trying to give Goku energy for a spirit bomb. That's where my brain's going like that, you know. I feel like everyone in the Imperium is trying to give the energy to the Emperor so we can get back up, you know. It's the 12th round, Rocky and Apollo. Who's getting up?
A last trick, a last damned trick. A lever to prise open your armor, a feint to make you drop your guard, a magician's encore sleight of hand, the final desperate scheme of an eternal and ruthless schemer. You make to cast your father's corpse aside because you understand it is merely part of the trick. But the body is already disintegrating into papery ash and luminous dust.
I said in the last episode it had to be some kind of illusion. But I said it. I said it, and I was right.
It was just an aspect.
And man, if Loka knew this, he played his part. Chef's kiss to perfection, man. Getting Horus to kind of drop his guard, talking him down to try to drop his power so that the Emperor could strike him. See what happens.
Another discarded aspect. Another empty husk. He is not dead. You cry out in anger and despair. You try to snatch the power back into yourself, but it is pooled around you in a great black, slick, sticky and sluggish, slow to respond, slow to obey, reluctant to re-inhabit the vessel of your body now that you have scorned it. You draw it back in as quickly as you can. You inhale to fill your lungs and soul with it. You gather it in frantically, for you must be ready to defend yourself. The worst of it, your human heart, still raw and exposed, feels relief. A kind of joy. Your father is not
Is
dead.
alive. Yeah.
Your father is not dead. You didn't kill him. He lives. Loken faces you, his sword in his hand. But it's not Loken. It never was. Loken is still sprawled on the deck to your left where you threw him, gazing on in horror. Or is it wonder? You will not die like this. You will not be tricked like this. The power begins to...
Damn, if that was the Emperor talking him down then and not Loken, again, it's the same thing that Horus has said the whole time. Not about his power, but it's how he uses it. Whew. Talk about some trickery. Yeah, damn.
flood back into your veins. The darkness of it, the sweet agony, the reassuring rage, the strength. Loken steps towards you. The other Loken. The Loken who is not Loken. The sword in his hand is not Rubio's old blade. The sword in his hand is the great war sword. The face is not Loken's. It is his face. The aspect of Loken collapses into void mist as your father steps out to meet you in all his bloody majesty. His wounds are great. Blood is dried black across his face and his ruined arm. But there is a light inside him, a light behind his eyes, the pure white light of a species that, in its madness, believes in him beyond all reason and trusts in him beyond all logic. A species that imagines him to be its shield and protector, that has such faith in that act of imagination, it is made real. He could not fight you alone. He could not beat you. But by bluff and ruse and stratagem and sacrifice, he has held your attention until he no longer has to. To be absent in the body is to be present in the Emperor. That's what the whispers are screaming. A whole species is present to hear them. Its will united in one form.
Excuse me. That's interesting, right? It's like through the warp, he's hearing the prayers of humanity praying for the Emperor. That's kind of fascinating. I wonder, again, like I've said throughout a lot of, you know, from my learnings in 40K and what I know, with everything that's gone, well, I don't know. Should I save this? Well, we're still a little ways. I just don't want to go off on a huge tangent while we're still in the middle of this. But the idea is, you know, I've been saying for a long time that, you know, the trillions upon trillions of prayers of humanity that are sent to the Emperor every day are doing something in the warp, you know, and who knows what that's going to be. Is, you know, supposedly he's shed, you know, his emotions so he doesn't become the Dark King. I don't know enough about that. I still need to read more about what that is and all of those, all that kind of stuff. But Yeah. Those prayers are definitely doing something and accumulating in the warp, doing something to him. So I mean, whether he wants to or not, what you know, I've had a kind of like chaos god conspiracy theory of, you know, what if the chaos gods, as a way to get back at the emperor for doing what he's done, essentially whispered in the ears of the right people of the Imperium to start believing in the emperor as a god, and that belief is spread enough to where he will end up coalescing as a new chaos god in the warp against his own wishes. You know what I mean? Like, what more ultimate uh payback, I guess, would be the right word. It's not the word I was looking for, but what kind of more ultimate payback could there be for the chaos gods against the emperor than to turn him into a chaos god and force him to join the great game for eternity, when that's, you know, the absolute opposite of what he wanted to do the entire time. So I don't know. Again, that's just kind of my, you know, what if chaos god conspiracy theory. But anyway, let's continue.
Not a man, not a father, but a king of all ages. He looks like a god. A wounded god, but a god nonetheless. It's not his power. It's where it comes from.
Oh, where it comes from
We
now.
are one and the same, the whispers say. Mankind and emperor. Emperor and mankind. Souls bound together. We are together as one, or we are nothing.
Wow.
You are no god!
You shout.
Then this will be a fair fight.
The whispers
Got him.
answer. You howl your defiance as he comes at you. He is clearly weak and wounded, but you are weak too. You have gathered up but a fraction of the power you had. You must keep him at bay for a moment longer, hold him back while you recover your full strength. For in this moment, you are just Horus Lupercal. You swing Worldbreaker and deflect the path of his sword. Sparks fly like comets. Your talon rakes through armor, flesh and bone. Blood fogs the air between you. His mind burns through your nervous system, disrupting your motor control and cascading pain through your core. You block his mind, twisted sideways through 13 dimensions, and render irreparable ischemic damage. You clamp his throat with your talon. You crush his windpipe and sever his carotid. Blood squirts out in a hosing arc. More blood snorts and spurts from his mouth as he chokes. He batters his blade across your skull and shoulder, shredding your serpent scales. You push him away, refractors banging as they fail and collapse, and punish him with your maul as he staggers back, clutching at his throat. You break his wrist. The warblade clatters from his hand. You crunch his ribs. You unleash bloodlight from the eye on your chest plate and torch his face. His hair burns. The flesh of his cheek melts to the bone. One eye roasts and bursts. Worldbreaker shatters his spine. You feel the power returning to you. It can't come fast enough. You need all of it. You need all of it. Reeling, he burns you back. A beam of light rakes you from his one remaining eye. Pure force, blue-white, the focused will of the human race, piercing your darkness as the beacon of the hollow mountain pierces the void. The pain is... The pain is more than a man can bear. And you are still just a man. It's not the power, it's what you do with it. And you fool! Let it go!
Mhm.
You let it all go! You fall to your knees, on fire within and without. His psychic beam continues to incinerate you. Please, you ask. Please, you implore. Give it back. Give the power back to me.
Now he's realizing it was never his to begin with. And it's too late. And he is nothing without it, essentially. You know? It's just it's so interesting now these, his delusions have been peeled away. What's he gonna do in his final moments here,
Oh, they will. They will. The old fool will let you have it all back because it serves their interests. But they will make you suffer first as a cautionary reprimand for spurning their generous gifts. They will make you pay for that in fire and agony, and they will let that punishment last a while. The Emperor, their only real foe, cannot kill you, after all, for all the
Or
power
can he?
he has salvaged and scraped together, for all the tricks he has played to weaken you and render you vulnerable when you were entirely invulnerable, for all the ways he has made you look like a fool. He cannot actually kill you. He does not have the means, not even him, to kill the limitless thing you have become. The instrument of chaos incarnate. Because that's what you are. Horus Lupercal. That's all you are. War Master. That is all you'll ever be. First found son. A slave to their darkness. A weapon in their hands. A puppet on their strings. Beguiled by their promises and lies. An instrument with no mind of its own, designed to shatter the shield of humanity and tip the human species into the neverness of the warp.
He's finally understanding that he means nothing to the Chaos Gods, and he's just been a tool the whole time to get back at the Emperor. And, I mean, granted, like the entire time, again, he's been juiced up by the Chaos Gods. His mind's been clouded, so it's not necessarily really Horus, but from the beginning, when the Emperor was talking past him to the Chaos Gods and saying that he killed, his son is dead, etc. To me, I mean, if you were in your right mind, you would think, right, that like, what am I trying to say? You would like, I guess, want to kind of analyze that statement, a little bit better. But he was so emotional in that moment that it just went past him, right? He didn't understand. He took it as the Emperor thinking that he was less than and was, had nothing, had no meaning, that he was less than, that he was, no equal. And so Horus took that personally, and it only drove him to want to fight more. When in actuality, he was, the Emperor was essentially acknowledging that that's no longer his son. The Chaos Gods have taken him away. And, yeah, so it's like, in this moment is Horus now, coming to the realization of what's been going on this whole time.
On your knees, caught in the torrent of your father's flame, you look up at him. You see it now. At last. Perhaps as he has always seen it. A simple truth. A secret that should have been kept despite everything. Some truths are too dangerous to know, or too lethal to hear. That's why he kept it for 30,000 years. Now you know it too. You see, through insurmountable pain, everything. Everything that has been ruined and everything that has been betrayed. You cannot ask him for forgiveness. You don't dare. And you can't speak anyway. But he can see it in your eyes. You were too weak to resist them then. And you will be too weak in another moment when they relent and replenish you with their abominable gifts. Your eyes beg him for mercy. A son to his father. End this.
Damn.
End it now.
Damn, dude. I mean, and that's just rough in general, right? Like, I mean, there's still two trains of thought with the Emperor, right? And I think the Emperor is a little bit of both. And it could, I mean, there could be a lot of different things, you know, with the Emperor, but, you know, one of the big questions with the Emperor is, you know, did he really have genuine love and care for the Primarchs, and did he truly see them as his sons, or were they just tools? And I think there's aspects of both. I think both are true. I think that the Emperor created them as tools to help lead humanity, you know, out into the stars and, you know, take on the Great Crusade, and to be aspects for humanity to look up to try to strive and become. I think that's also what the Astartes essentially are supposed to be as well. They're not just warriors and, you know, the Emperor's wrath. They're also things for normal humans to kind of look up to and aspire to become. But, you know, they're also a part of him, created them with aspects of himself. All of them have like a piece and aspect of the Emperor himself. So I do think he also sees them as his children. And so in this moment, you know, when the Emperor is finishing Horus, like, he knows that he has to kill him, because if he doesn't, he will succumb to their temptation again and become the avatar of chaos again. And then there won't be any stopping him. This is the one and only chance. And so father has to kill his son, you know, like, it's one thing for the opposite, right? For patricide, for, you know, Horus to kill his father. That's terrible enough in itself. But then the idea of a father having to end his own child's life. And I mean, I'm who knows, right? Like, how long the Emperor's lived, and if the story of him killing his own uncle is true because his uncle killed his own father, you know, is there any kind of real emotion left in the Emperor surrounding this situation? You know, who knows?
If you can. If that is even possible. End it before it is too late. If you can't do it, no one can.
Yep.
The burning stops. The psychic beam abates. You sway, gasping. Your father has a knife. An old stone thing. What is it? It's so small in his hand. That won't do it. That won't be enough. He seems to hesitate. Reluctant. You clench in sudden spasm and convulsion and cry out. The power is returning. It is flowing back into you with great rapidity, as though the old four are suddenly desperate to restore their gifts. What do they know? What have they seen that makes them act in such haste? Your father looks at the knife.
I wait for you. And I forgive you.
Damn.
He drives it.
So that's interesting. I wait for you and I forgive you. Does that mean that Horus will one day return? Because again, a lot of the Primarchs are starting to come back. Well, I say a lot of the Primarchs, but I mean, we've seen the return of Gilliman and the Lion, right? So, and I believe, you know, we've seen Angron and Fulgrim's returned recently, I believe. So there's always the demon princes or the demon Primarchs, but the loyalist ones starting to come back. Will that mean, you know, that Horus will come back eventually? Gotcha.
Into your heart.
Death
Loken is on
Horus.
his feet. He sees the blade glint. A simple stone knife won't break that blade. Something so small surely can't. The blade goes in. Hard thrust. The quick mercy stroke of a custodian's misericordia. Practical and unfussy. The two figures freeze together for a moment. The kneeling son. The standing father. Joined by the knife. And through that blade, the Emperor channels the full force of his will. The sublime power, a psychic blast of profound magnitude, courses down the ancient blade like lightning conducting through a metal rod. The fireball flash of its strike is brighter than all creation. Then, the light begins to die. A darkness falls quickly. It is not the glossy blackness of the court's infinite architecture. It is soft and mute, like the advent of night or the dimming of vision and sense. Horus smiles. His smile is no longer the terrible smile that greeted them when they entered the Lupercal court. The smile that shivered the world with mortal dread. It is now the smile Loken remembers from long ago. There is no blood. The Athena is sharp. Sharp enough to cut space. Sharp enough to slice reality. It has waited a long, long time for this. From the original killing that made it and stained it with the shadow of all murder, to this, the 8th death that it was promised. Horus smiles. The smile vanishes. Then so does flesh, lips and mouth, revealing another smile. A rictus grin of teeth. A mask of bone. There is no redemption, for the time for that is long past. There is only resignation. And in the end, it's just a man killing his son with a stone. The blade slides out and turns to dust. The body falls. And then, the galaxy burns.
Damn. Damn, what a way to end that. What a way to end that, man. What a great series. I can't wait to actually, it's so far down the line. I've only actually finished the first book on the Horus Heresy, Horus Rising. I have so much still to catch up on. So little time to do it. I wish I could just focus on reading this stuff, but I look forward to when I get to the point where I'm actually able to read through this series in its entirety and get more of the context and more stuff behind that. I'm going to be doing my best to kind of make videos as I go along, kind of reacting to, reviewing, and speculating as I go along. I don't know. I got to find the time to figure out how to do all those things, but that is something that I want to do here on the channel. So if that has interest for you, you know, hopefully I'll be able to get to some of that soon. But what a way to end it. You know what I mean? Just going from the start of it with the Dragon Ball Z-esque fight between him and the Emperor, traveling from space to space through time, the different areas, through the warp, and then the Emperor, you know, never giving up, being destroyed essentially, and then the couple of videos before where it's just him and Loken talking. That's probably my favorite video of this series from DQVO so far, or just in this, you know, just Loken giving him the cold hard truth. You know, I really like Loken a lot. I think he's a great character. And for me personally, I feel like were I to be, you know, in the 40K setting as an Astartes, I would probably be similar to him in my ways of thinking and acting, etc. I would like to think anyway. But yeah, and then I knew from the end of the last episode where Horus, you know, crushed the skull of the Emperor, that it had to be some kind of illusion, some kind of trick. But the fact that it was the Emperor the whole time, you know, as the illusion of Loken was still on the floor, and the fact that he essentially talked Horus down, you know, to giving up his power so he could be vulnerable. Chef's kiss, man. I mean, it's been said throughout this entire series, it's not about the power that he has, but it's how he uses it. And I mean, that also kind of goes back to the whole argument of, you know, youth versus experience. And the Emperor has, you know, 30 to 50,000 years worth of experience and how to wield his various abilities, versus Horus, who, you know, has only had it for a small amount of time, relatively speaking. Even though he was technically more powerful, he didn't really fully understand exactly how to utilize everything. Nor did he understand the price that he would have to pay for those, essentially just becoming, you know, an avatar of the Chaos Gods in the material world is what would have happened. Although, you know, if you believe the visions that some people have had, like Alfarius, you know, eventually Horus would have supposedly, you know, come to regret his actions, rally humanity, and would have eventually destroyed Chaos as well. But in doing so, humanity would have also been destroyed, I believe, is what the vision was. So, I don't know. Great series, though. Great way to end. You guys are already in the mag story? No, we're not. We're not there yet. We're not there yet. But yeah, great series. This was the death in the end, death of Horus. Voiceover. This was the finale of the series from DQVO. Links will be down below in the description, as always, to the original video without my commentary and reaction, and to DQVO's channel. Please do me a favor, if you've enjoyed the series as much as I have, be sure to go to his channel. Give all the videos you've enjoyed a like. Check out the rest of his content. Hit that sub button on his channel. Check out his Patreon. Check out his YouTube membership stuff. If you want to find ways that you can give him some extra love and support, he definitely deserves it. If you'd like to do the same for my channel, there's a join button underneath the video, as well as a link in the description to the YouTube membership benefits and tiers that I have to offer. You can take a look at those and see if any of that would have any interest for you. Regardless, thank you guys very much for coming in and hanging out. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, consider leaving a like and a sub, as it helps me and the channel grow. We also have playlists on the channel for all the other universes that I've done reactions to. Again, there's a bunch for Warhammer 40K, Warhammer Fantasy, the SCP universe, Magnus Archives, etc. So you can check those out if any of that would have any interest for you. Thank you again very much for watching this video all the way through to the very end. If you are still here, I greatly appreciate it. And yeah, we'll see you guys in the next one. Have a good one, everybody.